Well, for more on the topic, let's cross to New Orleans and speak with Dr. Joel Nitzkin. He's a senior fellow in tobacco policy for the R Street Institute. Thank you for being with us.
It's good to be here.
So at this point, these are proposals, but how quickly do you expect this to be implemented?
It will be implemented very slowly. The proposal to reduce nicotine in cigarettes isn't going to work unless and until there are alternate sources of nicotine available that can satisfy a smoker's urge to smoke. That's where the e-cigarettes and smokeless products come in, but FDA has not moved in the direction of making them more available.
So what sort of opportunities are there then for these e-cigarettes and these lower nicotine brands with this proposal ahead?
The e-cigarettes, particularly, are probably less than 1% the hazard posed by real tobacco cigarettes. They're also less addictive. The problem is the Food and Drug Administration regulatory process has not really engaged in the process of setting standards so that manufacturers know what standards they will be expected to meet.
Now let's look at the companies themselves. How are these big tobacco companies reacting to these proposed changes?
The big tobacco companies fear that e-cigarettes have the ability to make tobacco cigarettes obsolete. They have therefore moved in the direction of buying out certain e-cigarette companies so that they have a foot in the e-cigarette market.
Now let's also take a look at the rollout of this strategy. What do you see as the biggest health benefits of a gradual versus an immediate approach to cutting nicotine?
A gradual approach to cutting nicotine would be a disaster. And the reason it would be a disaster is that if you cut the nicotine just a little bit, the smokers will inhale deeper and hold it longer and get a higher dose of the other toxins in cigarette tar.
Now, are there perhaps any risks that come, though, with an immediate approach of cutting nicotine levels when people are already addicted?
Well, if people have an alternate source of nicotine that they can move to, no, that will be a smooth transition. If they don't have such a source, I'm afraid that'll just lead to a huge black market in full nicotine cigarettes.
So it does seem like there needs to be a more holistic approach. So what sort of policies or programs would then help support the goals of making these cigarettes less addictive and improving people's health?
Well, the key to success, again, will be in developing and authorizing alternate sources of nicotine. E-cigarettes, smokeless products, even some of the new heat-not-burn products will likely serve this need if the federal government can find a way to regulate them in a way that will be attractive to smokers to switch.
Now, the FDA said its proposals would result in more than 8 million fewer tobacco-related deaths by the end of the century. Now, nicotine is just one of the chemicals in cigarettes. So to what degree does this have a meaningful impact on health, given the other substances that are in cigarettes?
Smokers smoke for the nicotine but die from the tar. The nicotine is not the cause of any of the potentially fatal illnesses. So therefore, having a policy that will make cleaner nicotine available without these other chemical substances could result in the public health benefit they project.
Now, while one would hope that better health and fewer tobacco-related deaths are the motivation for this, does this in any way actually help the big tobacco industry's bottom line by marketing these new tobacco products as a less addictive, safer product that consumers might want to try?
Well, if the goal is public health, one would support those segments of the market that would provide the lowest risk products that would enable smokers to smoke. And if there are those in the private industry that make a huge profit in the process, that's fair game.
And very quickly, in terms of the efforts that we're seeing to cut these nicotine levels, a lot of them are saying they want it to be a non-addictive level. So if you're a health advocate, what does that level actually look like?
That level looks like 5% of the nicotine in current cigarettes. It's a very low level.
All right, thank you so much. We'll have to leave it there. Dr. Joel L. Nitzkin of the R Street Institute.